All right, guys, welcome to our latest rendition of Topics of the Week. Today's topic is one that may
It could be
traumatize you
your
for
dad.
life. Yes,
Is the title of this story.
it could be.
Okay, so Vero doesn't know about this. She didn't
Yes.
read it. There was a teenager in America in
Mhm.
1958
Long time ago.
named William Leslie Arnold,
Great name.
and he had a son later in life,
Yes.
and they lived in Australia at the time. And
Where was he born at? The guy?
where was the son born at?
No, the guy.
William.
Yeah.
William was born in America.
Okay.
I believe he was born in Nevada or Nebraska, something with an N.
One of those
Nebraska.
states.
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha,
That's where I
Nebraska.
get my steaks from. Just kidding. And so he's born in Omaha, Nebraska. How does he end up in Australia, and how does this kid up in Australia? Let me tell you. So the kid's name is James Arnold.
James Arnold.
I'm sorry, this is not the son's name. This is the little brother's name. It's James Arnold. And James Arnold had a DNA test done. He was looking for some family.
Mm-hmm. This one does.
And I think he had uploaded some DNA to whatever those things are called, like 23andMe,
Yes.
whatever.
All those fun
He
sites.
did that in 2020 or something like that. Well, he matched with somebody 2 years later,
Oh.
and it was a very similar match, like a very close relative. And so they went to connect with this guy,
Yes.
and it turns out the kid that had uploaded that similar sample was his nephew. And so they were trying to figure out, because the kid didn't have any connections with any uncles, aunts, anything. 'Cause he said his dad was an orphan and he didn't know any of his immediate family.
Mm-hmm.
So the story behind this, how does this guy end up here? Well, William Leslie Arnold
Yes. Great
had a
name,
bit of
man.
a sordid past
Just
that
a
doesn't
bit.
show up on a DNA test.
Just
but-
a bit.
So when in 1958, he was not born in 1958. He was 16 at the time, and he asked his mommy and daddy in 1958. So this
one
is
does.
like not very long after World War II.
60's
What
about
is
to
this,
hit.
baby boomer generation?
Yeah, 60's about to hit.
Yeah.
Party
Okay.
people.
Money is, people are getting rich, whatever. So there's drive-in movie theaters. You know about those? I don't. Well, they exist. And so William Arnold asked his mommy and daddy if he could take their car to a drive-in movie theater in 1958.
Took his
And
girlfriend.
they said no.
No.
So William killed his mommy and daddy.
Yes. As
Straight
as
up.
one does. As one does. What can you say?
You know, hormones are a thing, and
Yes. Give me the car.
yeah.
Simple,
So
simple answer.
they said no, and he murdered them, buried their bodies in their backyard
Yes.
in Nebraska.
And still went to the drive-in theater, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
They
Went to
took
the
the-
drive-in theater to watch a movie called The Undead.
Yes.
Ironically.
With his girlfriend at the time.
And he was with his girlfriend, correct?
Mhm.
Well, here's the thing. He went on about life as usual for 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
Like, just
nothing
went. He
changed.
just told people that his parents were on a trip,
Psh, yeah.
and they
All
were
the time.
buried in the backyard, and nobody had any idea. So I guess he was confronted later, and he confessed to a crime. I actually don't know if they caught him for the murder, and that's what got him sent to prison, or something else. I'm not really sure. It doesn't say. But he confessed to a crime, and that saw him sentenced to life in prison. However, he did not stay in prison and die in prison, as you would think he would.
You know.
In 1967, so he was, what is that? That's,
about 10 years later. So.
yeah, about 10
He's
years
like
later.
20,
So
late
he's
20s.
25, yeah, right, 25 years old. He escaped from prison
As one does.
and ended up in Australia.
Hey, you know. On the
And
run.
he went by an alias. I believe it was like a John Doman or something like that. Went by an alias.
Yeah.
And had a son and was known as a loving father.
Loving father.
And had a family.
Great dad.
And this family had no idea that he
I
had
think they said
murdered
he had
his
4
parents.
kids.
I don't know.
I think it was 4
I didn't
kids.
look that far.
But yeah, so a great dad, great family man. You know, that's one dad is.
Yeah.
And on our Mother's Day.
Had killed his parents and buried them in the backyard, and then just went about life as usual.
Yeah.
But he busted out of prison by I guess somebody had just gotten parole out of prison and came back and gave them the equipment that they needed, like a hacksaw or something.
Yeah.
They this says, this is crazy. This says that they put masks on to fool guards who conducted the daily head counts, which I want to know, was there like Ronald McDonald tats, and the guards were just like, yeah, it happened all the time. Like,
Well, I think they put masks in the beds, wouldn't it? It's like they put masks.
It doesn't say-
William-
it just
or they
says
put masks that look like they're in the cell still, I think. I'm not sure.
maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but they used a mask, and the guards didn't catch it because they're dumb. And so they escaped over a 12-foot high wire and used a T-shirt to cover the barbed wire so they didn't cut themselves.
So if you want to bring a prison, listen closely.
Someone said in the Omaha World Herald, quoted a prison warden as saying that theirs was the cleanest escape in his experience. Yikes.
You know, this guy's honestly a genius, if you think about it.
Well, the escapees made it to Omaha, Nebraska, but they didn't stay there. They caught a bus to Chicago, and then they parted ways. One of them was captured within 1 year, but Arnold just vanished into thin air.
The family man, loving father.
So a hearsay led investigators to pursue leads that he had fled to South America, but they couldn't find any proof that he was ever over there.
Mm-hmm.
So one guy became really obsessed with the case, and he started investigating it, and for like years and years.
I want to say this real fast.
Kind of,
this guy is a loser, all right? If this is your whole life, you have no life.
Okay, someone gave him this case as basically a joke and said, "You're never going to solve this. Like, here's this case of this guy that just vanished into thin air. We've tried everything. Haha, good luck. Like, rookie, have fun." So he kind of got obsessed with it and started. He was conducting interviews. He went back in the 2020 and was looking for DNA evidence to see if maybe, since it's been so many years and DNA technology had advanced, if they could find anything. Well, that's how they found the connection to William, the murderer, his little brother, which is horrifying because he has a little brother. What happened to the little brother? Like, he killed his parents and then dipped?
Yeah, as one does.
Who did the little brother go to stay with? Like, anyways. And the little brother didn't know that they were searching for his... I have questions. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyways, that's how he found the DNA link on the Ancestry site, and that's how they hit the match and figured out. So they found the son on this DNA site, like 23andMe or whatever, who thought he was just innocently looking for matches on the site. And the FBI was like, FYI...
You're right. You are an orphan, but because your brother killed...
No. They said, you're right, your dad was an orphan, but it's because he killed his parents.
He was telling you the truth, technically.
You're correct. You did not have grandparents because your father murdered them
and burned them back in
1958. And so that was kind of imagine that shock, but they actually didn't know if he was still alive when they contacted the son, so they were being super careful because they didn't know if, like, maybe he had faked his death or something. Like, maybe this wasn't, maybe he was still out there somewhere, but... He was. They said they were finally convinced that when local officials confirmed a death certificate, but he died and was buried in Australia at the age of 69 years old.
See, I'm not sure if I buy it because here's the thing: this guy is obviously a genius. To be able to murder his family, get away with it for 2 weeks, and then confess to it, go to jail for 10 years. That's a long time, but then escape. And just disappear for like the next 40 years, whatever. Have a whole family who loves you and thinks you're the world's greatest father. And then suddenly, when they get close to you, he gets back on you, you have a death certificate.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, this says that whenever he had escaped from prison and they went to Chicago, one of them got caught. It looks like he got a job in a restaurant, and that's where he met his wife. And she just had no idea. Yeah. And he became a father to her 4 children. Yeah. They divorced in 1978. Yeah. They moved to New Zealand in 1990s. Yeah. And then Australia. Yeah. This said he had a second wife who also had no knowledge of his former wife. This dude
is a legend.
But they said, the officer at the end said, I think ultimately he became the parent who he wanted to be or the one he wished he had. Well, you would have had him if you didn't murder him.
Well, see, there's in the beginning of the article, it's about, they're kind of curious about even the circumstances of him just murdering them before not letting the car. They're kind of wondering if there's other stuff going on in the house. Yeah. They didn't know about because, like, no one just murders someone for saying no to the car. Like, there had to be something else going on. They think potentially maybe some other stuff happening in the house besides just, you can't have the car, son. And then, Wacha kills him. And
I know, but I don't know. The officer said, because from everything I've noticed, it seemed like he was a good provider and a good father, and he raised some pretty good kids. Yeah. Well, the son said, there's no warning label on a DNA test kit telling you that you might not like what you find, but I don't regret doing it. So if anybody was thinking about doing a DNA test, do not.
Don't do it. You might
find out. Be like, wow, Hitler, cool. So
my dad's a murderer, And again, this could be your dad. You never know. This guy had no clue. So if you have a loving father, you should be concerned right now. But if you don't have a loving father. If you don't have a loving father, you're good to go. You're fine. So,
If you killed your loving father, the police would like to speak with you.
Yes, and follow this guy's path. This guy did it. He was just said, this is honestly an American story. This is a beautiful American story, actually. If you think about it.
It starts with a drive-in movie theater.
This is like the American dream. This is the American dream.
I don't say that.
It's the American dream. Think about it. You start off bad rap, kill your parents. Some people do.
And you can still achieve it and make it.
You can go to jail. You can escape. You can do
Pull yourself up
You
by
can
your
do
bootstraps
something
and move and flee the country.
You can do something that no one else, very few people have ever done in their lives. And that's escape prison and stay in America until 1984. He was there for like
1990s.
another like 20 years.
Yeah.
After he escaped,
What?
and made it, and then go to New Zealand, be a great father, great
That's
parent. Obviously,
wear
have
hearts
some
out.
success in life because he had some money to be successful. Probably wasn't getting taxed because he's a Social Security number, so he's probably living a tax-free life.
But what kind of
in the
life
world.
is that? Where you're just always afraid of everything?
Obviously, I don't know if he was or not. He was a great father.
Do you think he died early? He probably would have stayed alive longer in prison, to be
He
honest with
died
you.
early,
He's
allegedly.
probably listening to this
He's probably
right
still
now,
alive.
actually.
He might be
Next
my
week,
dad.
guys. Next week, guys, for our
John
guests.
Damon will be here.
For our guests, we have. But yeah, so when you see your parents tonight, or in the morning when you wake up,
Better just sleep with your eyes open.
Yes,
Is all I gotta
yes.
say.
and remember, you never know, because if they killed their parents, they may kill you. So be a good little boy, a good little girl, and if you ask for the car, and they say no,
See,
be careful.
never question your parents if they say no. Just go with it.
Yes, or you too could be a murderer.